Greetings, M squared here. Today we're going to take a quadratic equation in standard form and we're going to change it to vertex form using completing the square. So the rules are a little bit different, the steps I should say are a little bit different, not the rules. The steps are a little bit different than when I just complete the square because I'm not actually solving, I'm not getting x alone, I'm just trying to change our form. So you should remember that standard form looks like this with an ax squared plus bx plus c. So we have the three terms, a trinomial, it's quadratic. And vertex form looks like this, where you have parentheses, an a out front, the quantity squared, and then the k. And remember, the vertex was hk. Notice that that says minus h, so when you actually look in that parenthesis, the h, or the x-coordinate of your vertex, is actually the opposite of what you see. So you want to be careful with that. You want to make sure that you, because I'm going to ask you to find the vertex too. You want to make sure that you are able to find the vertex once you get it in that form. So these are the steps. We're going to rewrite the equation, leaving a little bit of room between the bx and the c. We're not going to move anything to sides. We just kind of rewrite it to leave a little bit of room because we're going to add a number in between the bx and the c to complete the square on these first two. And today we're just talking about a is 1. The next step is a is greater than 1. So we're going to do that. We're going to make a trinomial square. We're going to factor just that little part, and then it'll be in vertex form. So not quite as many steps as before. So those are the steps, and I'm just going to zoom in on this one. So hopefully you've got those steps down in your notes. So first step is just to rewrite it. So we're going to say y equals x squared plus 4x. And I'm going to leave a little bit of room, and then I'm going to say minus 5. Now normally when you add something to one side, you add it to the other. That's to balance it off. But today, instead of adding something to both sides, we're going to add it and then subtract it. Or if we subtract it, then we'll add it. So we're going to do it to the same side. So we've got to cancel it out or balance it out a different way than we normally do. So I'm going to kind of ignore that just for a minute. I'm going to just look at this because this is where I'm completing the square. So I'm going to take half of b, which is 2. I'm going to square it, which is 4. And I'm going to add it there. That completes the square so that I can factor it like this. But I can't just add 4 to an equation and not change it. So I've got to also subtract 4 to the same side because we all know that 4 minus 4 is 0. So I really haven't changed the value of this expression at all. I've just made it possible to factor this first part. So it's still y equals, and then I combine these, and that's negative 9. And now, voila, it's in vertex form. We changed it from standard form to vertex form, which means I can find the vertex now. So the vertex, remember, is the opposite of what I see there. So the x-coordinate is going to be negative 2, and then the y-coordinate is going to be negative 9. And so it's really a lot easier to graph it when it's in vertex form. So if you remember correctly, we'd graph the vertex, right? So we'd be somewhere down there. And then we know our a is 1, and I don't know if you remember the 1, 3, 5 rule, so I didn't have you guys set up a value of points when a table of x, y's and graph all the points. I just had you remember the pattern. So our pattern is over 1, up 1, and then over 1, up 3, and then over 1, up 5, and anyway, eventually we get to our little graph. So a was 1, we knew it went up, we knew what the vertex was. So that's kind of where we're going. Okay, let's try another one. So if you want to pause and try that one, using the steps you can, and then come back and I'll do it for you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it with a little break. We're going to take half of 8, which is 4. We're going to add 16, and then we're going to subtract 16. So that the reason we did that is so that we could factor here. We're going to factor x plus 4 squared, and then we're going to get a negative 31. So what's my vertex? My vertex is negative 4, negative 31. All right, let's try. And we're not going to graph them all, but I just wanted to show you on that first one what you would do. All right, here we go. We're going to leave a little break. We're going to rewrite it. And so sometimes you'll notice that we use f of x, sometimes we use y. It doesn't really matter. You might want to, if the directions are particular, if it says to write a function, then you probably should use f of x. If you're just rewriting the equation, it wouldn't matter, either one. So we moved it a little bit. We're going to take half of 10, which is 5. We're going to square it, which is 25, and we're going to add it to both sides. And that is when we get x plus 5 squared, because we factor this. F of x equals, And then 25 minus 3 is 22. So our vertex is negative 5, 22. When we start having a is greater than 1, that's where we get this shift where we get a minus sign here. But for these, it'll always be plus because actually, it wouldn't always be, but all these examples are. Oh, well. Okay. All these examples are plus. You just have to have a minus right there for it to be minus. That's what I forgot to do. Should have changed it. Anyway, that's our vertex. I was thinking about factoring out a negative. Tomorrow when we go over the next step, we'll do that. All right, here we go. We've got to change it just a little bit. We just leave a little space. And then we are going to take half of 6, which is 3, square it, which is 9, and add it. Oh my, I messed up on that last one. Did anyone catch it? I was supposed to subtract 25 here, wasn't I? If I add it here, I was supposed to subtract it there, which would have made it negative 28. I'm glad I caught that. Okay, 28, right there. All right, got to add and then subtract. All right, so here we go. We're going to factor x plus 3 squared, and then plus 2. So we have f. Oh, we don't need to rewrite it. We just need the vertex. And the vertex is the opposite of this. And that. So that would be, you can see that, I don't know if you remember when we graphed from standard form, when we had to find negative b over 2a, and then we had to plug it back in to find the vertex. This might be a simpler way to get to vertex form. Might be a simpler way to graph it. I like to do that. Just makes it a little bit easier. All right, well, good luck changing to vertex form. M squared, signing out.